What's in the news today? Foreign gas engineers' salaries under scrutiny. Recent revelations about the salary disparities within Gosum, one of Sordland's largest corporations, has sparked public interest. Particularly, that has been revealed that foreign engineers, mainly hailing from Kinyal and Ankaraka, earn significantly higher wages compared to their storage counterparts in other companies. These disparities highlight the challenges storage engineers face with increasingly globalized job markets. The leader of the NFP, Kesero Kebner, has suggested that the new constitution should expand executive powers, adding fuel to debate over the possibility of reforming the 1929 constitution. He pointed out that the current dire situation in Sordland and emphasized the need for strong leadership. The current constitution suggested the division of executive powers between the cabinet and the president, who has no immunity before the courts to act for treason and unconstitutional behavior during office. In the system suggested by the NFP, the president would be the absolute immunity before the courts, and it is the president who would chair the cabinet. It is not clear yet whether the suggestion would spark further debates in the reform committee within the PFJP and the USP. The PFJP proposal has suggested that the president should not have no presidential decrees, might result in the abolishment of the assembly and take the country into an early election, despite the independents' counter-proposal to give a similar power to the parliament to take down the president. But the detail was not shared with the press yesterday in yesterday's press briefings. The LUS calls for corporate responsibility in Narbel. The Labor Union of Sordland, led by Katrina Horton, made a strong call for corporate social responsibility in Narbel, as income inequality and public service deficiencies exacerbate. LUS demands local corporations step up to aid the community. It is time for corporations to prioritize people over profits, said Horton in a public statement. It is not just a state's duty to arrange welfare budgets, but a shared responsibility. The statement urges cooperation to invest in public health, education, and housing. PFJP coalition. Well, I mean, right now we have a majority government. We don't need to do a coalition, but we do need a vast majority in order to actually try to pass constitutional reforms. So we kind of need to work with the PFJP at least a little bit. Reform demand gains popularity. Demands for reform have gained more popularity than ever. Latest public opinion reports show the majority of Sordland's people want changes in the government structures that were established after Tarkin Sol's military coup in 1929. The public trust in the Grand National Assembly and the Supreme Court is at an all-time low. While rumors of reform talks are coming out of the Assembly, it seems unlikely that without complete unity, none of the parties would be able to lead such a proposal. In order to change the Constitution, the proposal must be collected at least 150 signatures, and then reach the needed 166 votes. The proposal passes the Assembly. It is also subject to another voting of the Supreme Court, as well as judicial review, which stands for the biggest obstacle towards the parties. What is the PFJP? They are the, progressive liberal party. You know what? We can actually look. I don't think we actually looked at their connection here. So we can go to the Assembly, or foreign leaders, party leaders, not former presidents. It's the the People's Freedom and Justice Party. They're a political party in Sordland which has promoted both liberalism and social democracy in the country. It is led by Franz Richter and is currently the main opposition to the Grand National Assembly in Sordland. So they're kind of like the reformist, center-left. They want more democracy in the country. That's kind of like their main thing right now. Okay, what else do we got? We got some stuff going on in Palace. Formal address Grand Duke Axel Reinhardt of Palace issued a cautionary statement regarding recent Rizian activities. The Grand Duke expressed increasing concerns over the intensified border conflicts. My fans go. Okay. Pale sovereignty, call respect for international laws. We'll go back to Sordland. Foreign presidents would also be interesting to look at. We can look at that in a second. We'll go through all of this, and then we'll kind of go through some codex stuff. Situation report. Ministry of Defense reports that the situation along the border is getting tense. Rumberg's Southern Army is sighted training close to our borders. It did not respond after we issued a radio message. The Chief of the Armed Forces, General Kruger, reports to increase patrolling duties along the northern border to signal readiness. So we have finalization of the contract. What's going on here? Local police working with a nationalist. One of our agents, acting as a young Swords member, had encountered two members of the local police force in Enrica, Austin Blower and Vic Nazir. According to the report, the policeman tried to take a bribe the agent to burn down a store that belongs to a known Communist Party member and to increase further violence. So I think that the presidents before us, one of them was Alfonso... journal. No, overview. No. Codex, yes. So, get rid of... I guess it's characters, history, locations, and organizations. There's a lot of stuff in here, okay? Like, if you want to, you can probably go reading this for like an hour. Yeah, but the previous president was Edward Alfonso. He was trying to implement some liberal and market reforms in the country, and it kind of backfired, and he became ousted, basically. The first president, well, I guess technically the second president of the Republic was Tarkin Sol, and he was basically, I think he's supposed to be like Ataturk, where he essentially is like a strongman who kind of does whatever he wanted, like very, very authoritarian as the president. Okay, radical. The pro-minority Workers' Party of Bludia, the WPB, rally in the Bludish majority city of Irizin, attracting a large audience. The gathering was heavy on flags and banners, whipping in the rain and chill wind as the gatherers declared solidarity with Bernard Circus. Among the speakers of the rally was Mansfield Leke, a Bludish member of the Assembly, who was standing in the leader of the independents in the Grand National Assembly. Although not a member of the WPB, he is the leading figure of the event. We will again foil this war plot set up by the soulless ideology, he said, in reference to the series of conflict and bloodshed during the Tarkin Sol's term as president, which claimed thousands of Bludish lives. We will come out of this tunnel of conflict. We will not only win against discrimination, we will win the truth. When we have all together foiled this trick of polarization, our songs of peace which spread from Izium will ring out even stronger over Sordland. Like added, in reference to the Izium incident of 1933, which triggered Tarkin Sol's persecution of Bludish minorities and the formation of the militant organization, the Bludish Freedom Front. No, I appreciate the questions. I'm not worried about that. I honestly, having the questions is better for me. I do appreciate it. Bludish citizens targeted. 20 Bludish citizens were attacked by a group of people suspected of being members of Young Swords during their peaceful protests to support Bernard Circus. The group was overwhelmed, and the local police forces couldn't reach the protesters to protect them amid the chaotic crowd. The attackers ran away without getting caught, and 11 of the victims were hospitalized with critical injuries. Have you ever dabbled in politics? Like I'm saying, with your history game interest, would you make a great local counselor? I have not dabbled, I mean, in that way, no, I've not done that. The most I've ever dabbled in politics is, I think, in like 2019. The Ontario NDP had like a convention, and I was a delegate there. So I got to vote on like party matters. But that's basically the furthest I've ever dabbled in politics. I've not done anything more than that. So we have a meeting with Marcel Carenti. Economic relief plan. Okay, let's see. With the assistance of the National Business Council and the Central Bank, Simon Hall put forward a countrywide relief plan to mitigate the economic hardships that are being felt. We can either provide stimulus checks for the people in need, or ballot businesses under serious financial strain, or decide not to approve the plan. So this is going to cost -2. Let's provide some stimmy checks. We'll provide some stimmy checks to the people. Okay, so what's happened? Stimulus checks distributed. The government provision of stimulus checks to citizens in need have been a crucial lifeline for many struggling families. Helping them pay for necessities such as food and rent. I don't know who they're going to choose as the next party leader after Singh, because he's resigned. So we'll see how that goes for them. Okay. Let's first talk about the finalization of the H3 contract. After a lengthy drive of cliffside roads, we arrived in Lenkberg. There, crowds of cheering citizens greeting us, and the local government officials escorted us to the city hall. We were here for a significant meeting about the H3 project. Several construction companies sent their representatives to the city hall. Gus Manager couldn't make the meeting due to his visit in Rizia, but I had Simon Hall and Elias Graf by my side. Besides starting our economic recovery, this project will cut the time it takes to get here by road in half, Mr. President. More importantly, it'll lead to improvement in Agland. I have lived with these people and seen them suffer. Okay. I trust your plan, Simon. I'm glad to hear that. We should be able to slow down the recession if we complete this project successfully. I look forward to the positive financial outcome. According to the sources, will lift many people in this area out of poverty. Okay. Failure is not an option in this. Who do I support? I'll be honest, I don't know who would even be in the running. I don't know if they've announced who would be, or I don't know who's even running the leadership race right now. Failure during this project is not an option. We'll not let the people or ourselves down. I will not let that happen to any of us. Our economic revitalization plan is set to be a success. Failure is indeed not an option. Someone reached through the documents he was holding and found the one that he was looking for. I have the overview of the companies here. Someone hands over the files to me. I look through the files. The 3 companies are listed: the Swordfish State Corporation, Underhall Construction, and Taurus Holdings. Founded in 1891, the Swordfish State Corporation, the SSC, is the main government corporation that is tasked with running public construction contracts in Sordland. It is also part of the Big Four, the 4 largest companies in Sordland. Most usually also called the SEC, it is the most honorable company of the country, with a long and solid track record of accomplishment of critical projects. Then we have Underhall Construction. The real estate giant is owned by Mayor of Conrad, Chris Shire. Most people in Sordland know the name Underhall Construction by the many iconic buildings that they've constructed in nearly all major cities. Recently, the company sold half of its shares to Walton Tusk, spokeswoman for the Lothenberg Group. While this breach certain competition clauses, it is largely ignored. Underhall is a gigantic real estate company that is very influential in construction projects in the private sector. Some of the recent work in Household Central Station, which they completed on time but violated workers' rights in the process. And Taurus. Founded in 1946 by Gerald Fayas, Taurus Holdings is a new and entrepreneurial private company that uses cutting-edge construction technology from Arcadia to reduce construction costs and prices. They recently began taking bigger and riskier contracts in several industries, including construction. Taurus is also dealing with shipyard building, bridge works, and training aircraft hangars. The company is known for its great employee perks and high union membership. It is considered much more open and competitive compared to the usual Swords corporations. Okay. They're known for their port expansion project in Benvie, which was completed with half of the budget. Interesting. I reviewed them. I also took the liberty of asking the mayor of Avery for his opinion on the matter. Which corporation should we talk about? Let's go just one at a time. The respected Swordfish State Corporation, also known as the SEC, was founded in 1891. They are the main state corporation tasked with running the day-to-day construction services for our country. The SEC is one of our most trusted and honorable companies. They've served us a long time, and I've worked with them on several occasions. It would fulfill your initial election promise of using a state-dominated planned economy to improve Sordland's bleak economic prospects. They have the experience and the manpower to pull off a project like this. Secondly, they're the only company to have worked in Agland region out of all 3 corporations. The outdated construction methods they use concern me. They're several decades behind. The experience that they bring is beneficial. I don't agree with your negative statement, Simon. The SSC's record clearly shows completed contracts with thousands of employees who have more than 20 years of experience. I like the SSC, but I want to hear about the others. Underhall Construction. Real estate company construction giant was founded in 1925 and expanded during the economic boom of the 30s. Picking this corporation would go against our planned economic policy. The CEO of Underhall is Chris Share, the mayor of Conrad, and he sold half his shares a few years ago. I had worked with Underhall Construction before in Household. They accepted several contracts for the renovation of a central station, and left much left to be desired. The H3 project shouldn't be left to them. Okay. I'd like to hear your thoughts, Simon. I think they have been doing relatively well in the private sector, where they are dominating the construction industry with successful projects. Nonetheless, they are subjected to workers to conditions beneath our standard during the Household Central Station contract, which is troubling. Worker conditions must be respected. Doesn't inspire confidence. I agree. The workers were undocumented Angolan and Wajnak immigrants with no papers, a clear violation of our laws. According to them, a tight completion schedule necessitated the bad labor conditions, which still doesn't justify the situation. Underhall has specifically mentioned their solid track record and highlighted they do anticipate to go over budget, but the project will be completed on time. I'm not sure about that one, I'll be completely honest with you. Okay, Taurus Holdings. Taurus Holdings was founded in 1946 and is owned by the entrepreneur Gerald Fayas. is a new holding company whose subsidiaries use cutting-edge technology from Acacia to reduce construction costs and pricing. They're known to provide for their workers, who are part of the labor union of Sordland. There are other things Source does well, like providing consultants for state corporations, but account fails for the infrastructure construction at all. Why shouldn't we go with them? Well, one of the promises would be respected. We promise to focus on planned economy to create jobs. This company is completely private and directed by a non-government board. Do you even remember if they worked on a mega project like this? Choosing this company is too much of a risk for such an important project, especially when a proven candidate like the SSCs exist. Yeah, we should not risk our first project. You know, that I think that makes sense. They took a joint contract in Acacia for reconstructing a highway intersection with one of the major cities. It went well, but it was their only large-scale success. It's going to try a different company. This is the most unique. The project manager from Taurus Holding mentioned that they would be able to finish the project with the allocated funding, and they're the only company to have found the budget sufficient, making them a cheaper alternative. I mean, I think it's worth considering. But you know what? We are going to go... Okay, so this one's free. Okay, but you know what? We're going to settle for the SSC. We're going to spend money on them. The UNDP is an integral part of the parent party. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because, I mean, Ontario is, like, the biggest province that they would be in. Okay. Which is not usually the case for Canada's political system. Okay. Saying consists of economic strategy. He cited a certain... okay. Cited a certain section of the dossier. Very well, Mr. President. The contract will be awarded to Sword State Corporation. Did he Nenshi? Honestly, I'd have to look in to see who even would be even in the running for leadership. I honestly don't know too much. I'm so glad that you've been able to make this choice. I can tell from my experience that this will be very satisfied with this corporation. The company will be notified today, and construction work will begin immediately afterwards. Okay. I think we're off to a good start. I agree. My expectations are that the grand opening ceremony will happen late next year. I better get to work then. Okay. It's nice to enjoy the natural beauty of Agland and eat some good fish. Hell yeah, we love fish here. Okay, we're spending some more money. But you got to spend money to make money. Okay, what's in the news right now? Construction begins on the H3 highway. The Storage State Corporation has been awarded a 2-year contract for an extensive infrastructure project, subsequently designed and construction work as part of the H3 highway expansion project in Sordland. In addition to this geotechnical ground investigation, the SSC will provide a design for all civilian structures, including ground retaining walls and earthworks on the highway. The SSC has said they could build the line faster than the deadline and at a much lower cost, according to a letter seen by The Economist. But opposition leader Reckner is had a warning, letting SSC build H3 would be extremely questionable. The H3 project involves a widening of hundreds of kilometers of existing motorway between Lac-Evan and Avery, including an open tunnel near 3 kilometers long. The highway will pass from Leckenberg and Avery, and later will be expanded to the Angolian capital, Stadlport. Okay. Risky highway project. The government has announced a new mega infrastructure project to alleviate the symptoms of the recession. When the Minister of Economy announced the launch of one of the most contested construction projects in Sordland, a new highway from Lac-Evan to Angolian capital, Stadlport. He said this project will cross the poorest region of Sordland, developing the region, improving foreign trade and increasing access to employment. The contract for the project was given to the old and outdated Sordland State Corporation with its decision of the president. Mega projects such as construction of ports, transport lines, and including railways and motorways and power plants typically cost billions of SR. They are difficult to manage due to their scale, and high levels of complexity and subsequent impact on communities. The environment and state governments, the decision of such a vital project to be given to the SSC should not be taken so easily. As they suffer from inefficient bureaucracy that often cause delays. The management of the old company is not based on merit, but of political connections. Agland has long been neglected as a region, and it was in need of serious investment in infrastructure. While this is positive news, it is doubtful that this project is worth the money and time that it will consume. The administration has fallen for populism, and the idea of giving money, the idea that giving people money will solve the problems of the economy overall. It's hard to grasp where these ideas come from, especially given when long-term job growth and employment is what the country needs to secure in order to have a stable economy. What's the plan here? People will be able to pay for their rents for a few months, and then they will fall into the same unemployment trap due to the lack of job availability or security. Businesses can't carry all the weight of the declining economy on their shoulders, and the people without help from the government. The administration needs to reevaluate these ways out of the recession with realistic methods. Help comes at last. The new administration led by President Rayne has accomplished a great feat in providing stimulus checks to help the people in need. These are going out as soon as the act was approved by the president himself, and all eligible people in the lower income brackets receive nearly 4 months on average. Will receive nearly 4 months of the average salary on a single day. This is such a powerful political move that resonated very well with the populace. Praise where praise is due. When the people in dire need of help and suffer, the president came to their aid. Thanks to this action, many who were economically insecure have just received a second chance to bounce back. Help has come for the people at last. Can we bring back stimmy checks? I remember it's actually like kind of funny because like when I didn't lose my job, but where I was working during COVID close, I was working at like a restaurant when I was in university. You know, we were just given, well, you had to apply for it, but we were given like $2,000 monthly checks, which I think was like more than double what I was actually making at my job. It was really good for me. Maybe not so good for like the people who died, but you know how it is. By the way, actually, can I see? Because I know it says like within our party, like there is some division there. But I don't know if there's really a way to see that off of this, at least. Okay. Let's meet with Marcel Caranti. Our motorcade headed to the meeting location set by Marcel Caranti. I had only the most confidential and trustworthy team members with me. After a few hours of driving along River Esquel, we took a turn before entering Confront. The darkness started setting in as we drove up the hill. Where are we, Sergey? We're nearing the HOS Country Club, Mr. President. We'll be there shortly. We arrived and the big iron gates of the country club opened. It was huge and outright extravagant. The main building, inspired by the lesbian architecture, was illuminated from all sides. What is the NFP? The NFP is the National Front Party, I think. Basically, they're like the right-wing nationalist party. It was rather chilly. I was approached by Peter Vectrin and Lucien Galade. I hope the journey was comfortable. Wasn't bad. Yeah, the location is very remote indeed. It's a very exclusive country club for people who value their privacy. After opening the marble engraved wooden door, we were greeted by two tall women. The receptionist led us to the meeting room upstairs. Marcel was standing by the window looking outside the beautiful complex, and he turned around to have a quick look at us both. He was a strikingly handsome man with well-groomed hair. He walked towards me with his hand reached out for a handshake. I see no reason not to shake his hand. He had a firm grip. It is such a pleasure to meet with you in person, Mr. Caranti. I appreciate your efforts to reach out and establish a mutual beneficial friendship. Thanks for hosting us. I admire your father very much. May he rest in peace. Welcome. Your kind words have touched me, Mr. Vice President. He was indeed a great man. Please accept our condolences. We are saddened. He would be very happy to hear this from you, Mr. President. It's time to look forward. Let's talk about our bright future. Yes, there is much to discuss. Believe it or not, I have been a secret admirer of your political success. I find your quick rise to power was shockingly well executed. I would not be standing here if I was bad at what I do. Marcel gently pointed at the seat. We sat down around the gigantic table for speaking. He knocked on wood. The past months I have been tumultuous, to say the least. I'm glad that you and your family were unharmed in the shooting. The whole incident has been been a shock for the kids. They aren't used for what we lived back through in the late 20s. I still remember when my father took us out of the country when it became too dangerous in Conrad. They were startled, but the more important thing is that they are safe and sound. Of course, that's all that matters. No family should have to suffer through from such a tragedy ever again. We've had enough of that. Well, I am known for being a straightforward person, so let us get to the point without wasting too much of our valuable time. It is during the Alfonso campaign when I was struck by what you managed to do within the party. Marcel's eyes traveled towards one of the paintings on his wall. Okay. What should we say? What should we say? Okay, have a good day, Famille. I'll look at Marcel. Marcel pointed his finger at me. You said that we will transform this nation, Mr. Rayne. My conglomerate has ways of doing things, and I don't want them to change. So I want to cooperate with you. Keep going. You might have people's support now, Mr. President, but what happens when you make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. What is that supposed to mean? Let's hear his point, Mr. Vice President. Being a president of this country means having many enemies. Enemies that will resort to anything to break you down. Let's say these enemies cause a scandal or leak some sensitive information about the administration. These would be destructive once they were released. If they were released, you're playing a dangerous game. We are all dangerous men playing dangerous games. Let's hear your offer. I want two things, Mr. President. Number one, is a guarantee from you that the Rayne administration will not meddle in HOS affairs, no matter what happens. Multi-industry corporation with tens of billions of SR, the part of the Big Four. Sources employed by the HOS enjoy many benefits, such as huge salary bonuses, free private health care, and free housing. Continue. Number two, the simple gentleman favor for the future. Let me prove my services to you first. I'm sure you won't disapprove when the time comes. How do I know that I can trust you? My circle advised against this. They don't even know that we're meeting, Mr. President. We're both putting ourselves at risk here, but I'm willing to trust you. My question is, are you willing to trust me and accept this offer? What do you think about this, Lucien? Lucien leaned over my ear and whispered, I think it's a good deal. He's right. We need the media support. With his newspapers and channels on our side, we can dodge a lot of bullets. The one thing that bothers me, though, is his favor request. We do not know what he'll ask for, and it could be something that endangers our administration. So, do we have a deal? We have a deal. Let's do it. I'm happy to hear that. You could contact me personally through this number. As soon as you know what that story as soon as you know that a story against you will break, please call me, and I'll have it taken care of. I hope that you'll uphold your end of the bargain as well. I'm a man of my word. I rarely bet, but when I do, all possibilities are accounted for. We will meet again. Goodbye. Thank you for your time, Mr. Caronti. Let's return to Halisord. I have no idea how, I'm probably gonna end when we reach whenever the end of turn is, and I have no idea how long this goes for. Situations, media bias. Media in Sordland is facing a significant challenges due to organized interference from both the state and private organizations. This interference has been aimed at controlling the narrative and shaping public opinion in favor of specific agendas. Okay, so you're already, it looks like you're already like a quarter of the way done. I mean, that seems pretty decent. Okay, let's read the report. The leader of the NFP, Kesser Kibber, has demanded an emergency to be called to address the increased political violence in the country. He stated that without a declaration of emergency, Sordland would be destabilized and the integrity of the country would be damaged even further. Okay, it's time to attend the funeral of Bernard Secrets. The death of Bernard Secrets was a shock to the country, and his funeral will be held in the air among a large crowd of sympathizers. Secrets was not only a communist poet, but also an elected MP that had a voice. A state funeral has been organized to honor him. The question is whether the president and the administration will attend the funeral or not. Of course, we have to attend the funeral for a murdered MP. It'd be crazy not to. I gotta take a sip of my drink, though. Delightful. Okay. Dark clouds were looming over Deer. They looked daunting as the convoy started approaching the essentially old cemetery. It looked like it was going to rain. Certainly fitting weather for a funeral. As expected, Bernard Secrets passing maintained its immediate traction, and all the Sordland was paying attention to the ceremony. Especially to what I would say in my speech today. Sir, we've arrived. Raindrops were running down in the car window when the Sergei opened a door and held an umbrella over my head. As soon as I got out, flashes from the cameras blinded me. It's okay, Sergei. I can hold my own umbrella. As you wish, sir. He handed me the umbrella and started waiting next to the car with his own. Peter and Carl exited from their own cars into the convoy. They made their way over to me. Anton, Mr. President, I just want to inform you that the perimeter is clear and secured completely. There's no one getting in or out without our knowledge. Good work. Thank you, Carl. Carl bowed his head in respect. Good. If anything happens to Anton, you'll have to answer to the First Lady. And trust me, Carl, you do not want that. Peter let out a laugh, which drew some attention from the bereaved attendees. Okay, we're gonna gesture at him to lower his voice. You're right. Sorry. It started to rain. Several unintelligible voices were heard from Carl's radio, and he stepped out to reply and returned shortly. We got a small problem, sir. A few, 5 to be exact, rebel youth members are here to attend the funeral. They apparently said they wish to pay their respects to their fallen comrade. Should we let them in? Do you think they pose a security threat? No, they were thoroughly searched. It looks like they are really here to attend the funeral. Let them in, but put a few guards on them. As you command. Let's head over. They're about to start. We walk towards the crowd circle. Circled around the grave. Everyone in attendance was wearing black and mourning, and the rain started pouring heavily. Bernard's widow and daughter were there in the front row, staring at the coffin with a mixture of disbelief, confusion, and above all, a cold, unforgiving sadness. Both of their eyes were very red and swollen from weeping. Before taking my place to observe the ceremony, I gave my condolences to Bernard's wife and his daughter, who looked at me. She reminded me of Dana. When the religion's ceremony was done, I was invited by the priest to deliver my speech. I took the podium, and I felt like I had a lump in my throat. I couldn't get the daughter's eyes out of my head. Today we are mourning Bernard Zacchaeus, a father, a husband, and a loyal servant of his country. Towards the back of the crowd, I spotted members of the Red Youth wearing red shirts and black bands, mourning on their arms. They seemed ruly and were respectfully bowing their heads. There were complete silence except for the sounds of raindrops. Okay. This is a great loss. Regardless of his ideology, this was a heinous act made towards a good man. We must end the cycle of violence now. Let's, what do we want to take? Zacchaeus had a dream of a unified Sordland. In these next months, we need to fulfill his dream and band together. Okay, we can all mourn the passing, we can remember him well. But hate begets hate. You know what, we'll just do simple. You know, let us all mourn the passing of Bernard Zacchaeus. Remember him well. I would now like to recite one of the poems that he had left us. Okay. What do we want to say? Towards the sun, those who died fighting. They did not let us sing our songs. They are afraid of the dawn. They're afraid of hope, but our songs will be sung. I don't know which one of these three I want to choose. I'm kind of leaning towards 1 or 3. I'm gonna go with 1. Our only strength is the will to survive, knowing that we will perish, knowing nothing more is absolute. A moment of silence, please. During the silence, all that was heard were the ravens. Some attendants started clapping, some crying. The coffin was lowered into the grave by the gravekeepers. After a couple of minutes, Bernard Zacchaeus was with the soil no more. As we bid farewell to Bernard, I want to close with the words every sword lives by. A Morgana West Core. The thing is, we're not... Was he swordish? Because I don't want to, like, spark an incident, because, like, if this means... Do I say this? I'm actually going to look this up, if I can. This is Neo Morgana, which is not really what I'm looking for. Locations, organizations, history, ideologies, important events, religion, timeline. I'll do this one. Everyone replied, "Vector insista." Victory is close. With applause, I stepped down from the podium. It was time to leave. The widow thanked me with a soft and defeated voice before we dispersed. On my way back to the car, I still couldn't get the eyes of Bernard's daughter, nor the faltering voice of his wife out of my head. Would Dina, Monica, and Frank look the same way if something were to happen to me? Peter put his hand on his shoulder. It was a good speech. I sensed only respect in his voice. Thank you. And I mean it. I know you do. Come on. It's time to go. We've got work to do. He was right. We have work to do. So much more to do. I realized that the rain had stopped, and I looked up. The black clouds slowly dispersed and sunbeams enlightened our surroundings. As someone once said, even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. Hope was on the horizon.